Hey, John.
Hey Eric, how are you?
I'm good.
That's better than the alternative.
Yeah. I mean, a little tired. It's chaos week this week. My youngest, my boy, is graduating high school. Officially tomorrow night, he walks on the field.
Heaven forfend. Next fall, you're gonna have nobody but the two of you in the house.
It's going to be glorious. So
He says no, but like we'll put a pin in it here that it's like the kids can
yeah,
come visit.
yeah, they can come
Yeah.
visit. I just think I
Yeah.
will enjoy having my tools where they are supposed to go and lights not being left
That are
on
turned
and
off.
doors closed. I just think I'm going to enjoy that for at least some period of time.
Yeah.
So, no,
Yeah.
but we have family coming into town, so, that's chaos. Tuesday night we had the senior awards. He got a Pathways cord for 2D and 3D art, so photography basically.
Cool.
So he got a cord, but he also should have got a cord for a couple other things that he's like. I showed my counselor that I finished them. They didn't give me the cords, so
Okay then.
yeah. So we did that Tuesday night, and then all the prep for everything that's happening this week has been. And I had forgotten that months ago I had volunteered to chaperone the senior grad night party tomorrow night.
Ah.
So it goes till 5 a.m. It's at a currently undisclosed location.
Okay.
I think I signed up, I'm pretty sure, for shift one,
What's shift one?
like 10:30 to 2 a.m. or something like that.
Okay.
And they're looking for more people to stay for shift two. They have enough volunteers for shift one. So I wonder if they're going to try to recruit folks. I don't know if I'm going to be awake
I was gonna say.
by 5 a.m. But they haven't told anybody where it's at, only that it's within a half-hour drive. So
No, that's
it's supposed to be a
big-
surprise.
That's a big area.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping it's like at one of those like Langers or
Like Big Owls
Owls or
yeah.
some. Yeah, just like give the kids that the whole night and let them go crazy, bowl or do whatever. I'm hoping that's what it is, because you got 400 and some odd, 500 and some odd kids, teenagers that have just graduated.
Right.
It'll be fun. So that's this week.
It should be fun. I picture Eric in a chair up near the front door with his head, kicked back against the glass, just in case anybody tries to go out. It'll wake you up, but
That's right.
snoozing away.
You can't leave. If you
3
leave, you
a.m..
can't come back in. That'll be good. So that's
That's
my-
exciting.
yeah. And then I don't think I've said so. I have been a huge fan of the Coke Zero probably for as long as you've known me.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. And I don't mind Coke Zero. I just prefer the classic.
Classic.
Diet Coke. I'm like, wait, which is the not new Coke, but
Yeah.
the regular
Ew.
Diet Coke.
But I have decided to try an experiment because I got that little ring thing to track my sleep, and my heart rate is not super high, but it's above average while I sleep. For someone my age, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and one of the causes potentially is caffeine, and so anyways, long story
want
short,
to be above average?
I think I would be perfectly happy with average in this case.
Sometimes there's things to be below average. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have decided to give up. I don't have a timeline or anything. Just give up all my Coke Zeros. So I will no longer be acquiring Coke Zero for myself at home. And as I wean myself off, I will allow myself a Coke Zero at lunch if I'm going out to lunch. But my daughter and I, she is helping me with this. We went to a bunch of different grocery stores to try to find the different types of just seltzer water, sparkling water, to replace
that
the
are
Coke Zero
remotely
bubbles.
palatable.
Yeah, so I've got a whole bunch of different brands in my little mini fridge now stocked. That is moment of silence for the last Coke Zero that departed the fridge this morning.
But that means you have given up both Pop-Tarts
Yeah.
and Coke Zero for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you and what have you done with my friend?
I am gonna try the John approach of breakfast and make a breakfast burrito.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna try that for a while.
Okay.
Or a breakfast burrito, or the egg McMuffin, sausage egg McMuffins.
I make an egg McMuffin every single morning.
I think I'm going to try that for a while just to get some.
All right.
Anyways.
So the if you want my 2 cents, the everything
always.
Bagel Thins.
Everything bagel thins.
Do you like everything bagels?
I'm not a big fan of the everything bagels, but I see where you're going. I do like regular bagels.
Well, they have regular Bagel Thins too, and they're about half as good as the everything Bagel Thins, but they're still good. So
okay.
Anyway,
and so you use that instead of a
that's what I
muffin.
use. It's a little bit fewer calories than
okay.
Brand's buttermilk English muffins, which are the soft ones that are really good.
Yes.
Anyway,
all right.
There you go.
Well, enough cooking with Eric and John.
Okay.
How was your weekend?
The weekend was like, I'm just trying to remember what I did. I know I read a lot. I did check on the bees. They are making honey, which is awesome. I have eggs in one of the nukes and not in the other one, so I was going to give them one more week and then see what I did about that.
Okay.
But I got supers getting filled with honey right at the moment, so I'm really excited about that. And then
and is this earlier than last year, or is this
super much earlier? Yeah,
I was going to say earlier. I feel like this is a little early this year.
Yeah, 100%. No, I'm really excited about that.
Okay,
and so I'm really stoked. But then, related to the bee thing, we also I spent a good chunk of, I think, Sunday morning cleaning out the barn because my wife is going to bring her 5th grade class for a field trip to learn about pollinators at the farm. And so I'm gonna set up a whole, like, not a real hive, but like what are the components of a hive,
right? And
I'm gonna try and get like 2 or 4 frames of honey out there that are like the most ready, and actually have the kids spin the extractor and we got a whole bunch of these little 3-ounce honey jars. I don't know for sure if we'll be able to fill enough of them. Sort of depends, but
right. Give them some honey to take home.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
So that's going to happen this Friday. So anyway, that's going to be fun. The other kind of exciting thing that was semi-exciting, not really. I went to donate blood.
You're really selling it.
Monday, I think. Yeah. I'm on Red Cloud. Actually, it is exciting. I passed my 4-gallon mark, so it was my 32nd donation.
Okay.
So,
nice.
Which is cool. And then, but so while I'm there, they're like, "Oh, you have O blood? Yeah. Do you take aspirin? No." There's a third question. I don't remember what it was. And they were like, "Oh, well, do you mind if we do this other special thing for you?" I'm like, "Is it just whole blood like normal?" They're like, "Oh yeah, we just slightly different procedure, and we rush it to the NICU basically at OHSU."
Oh, okay.
Because they need O blood and can't have aspirin. And so three weird things about this. So first of all, you've donated blood before, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different in that she was like, "Do you mind if I use you? I'm training somebody. Do you mind if I use you as an example?" Actually, she prefaced that with wow, you have really nice veins.
Right.
Do you mind if I use you as a test subject?
That's right.
I'm like, sure, whatever. I don't mind. And then so it took. I literally was sitting in the thing for it seemed like a long time while she explained all the different parts and pieces. And it's different because they had this little diversion where it went to this tiny bag that they had to fill the vials from first. Because of course I asked, I was like, why is this? Because they don't want the anticoagulant in this blood. So normally they have an anticoagulant that's inside the line and in the bag, but these don't.
Okay.
Because of however they're... Anyway, so anyway, it was a little bit... So that was the one weird thing. Being a test subject, the kind of weird diversion for the blood. And then the third thing is the person who pulled out the needle from my arm made, I don't know what, he got blood all over the place. Like I bled like a stuck pig. I mean, I wasn't actually watching what he was doing because I don't know, I'm okay with donating blood, but I don't particularly like to watch the needle go into my skin. And anyway, got blood all over. I was just like, well, that's exciting for you. You probably start some protocol for, all the different things you need to do. But anyway, so that was a little bit of a excitement Monday evening, but
cool.
That's all. It was a very boring, very, very slow weekend. As far as stuff around the farm goes. I guess I mowed a lot. I mowed everything. That's what I did on Saturday.
Cool.
I think I spent 7 hours on the lawnmower. That is a long time.
With headphones and a book?
Heck yeah. Who am I? That's going to be my something fun.
All right. Well, we should get to that then.
Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Well, how about a topic?
All right. So, we have talked about right to repair things in the past, and I think one of the first things we talked about was John Deere tractors and a number of other things over the years that we've been doing the podcast here. I saw this in the Wall Street Journal a couple weeks ago, and it was about passenger trains in Poland. And I thought, this is really cool. And then as I was prepping today, I said, hey, I wonder if because the Wall Street Journal article is behind a paywall. And so I was like, I wonder if anybody else has published about this, because it's about, you'll hear in a second, it was presented at a hacking conference in Germany. Well, I found a Gizmodo article from January of 2024. So this is actually kind of old.
Couple months old.
It's still kind of cool. Well, I think it's still pretty cool. So the article basically is there is a group of Polish hackers. Well, I'll mix the two articles because the information is different in each of the two articles. So the Wall Street Journal article talks about, there are these trains and they started going haywire or freezing up or not starting. And the Polish company Newag said, well, you got to pay us to fix them. Well, the rail company, the rail company, like a government agency, offered some bids to who can repair them, and a different company won. Not the company who built the trains. A different company won.
Okay.
And so they were doing it, and they got to the point where this company, SPS, who just could not figure out why these trains would not start, and of course Newag said, hey, we guarantee we can get them to start if you pay us to do that. Well, and I'm sorry, Newag was the people who built the trains in the first place. Correct. They built the trains in the first place. And so one of the SPS, the daughter of SPS's owner, had the deadline of when they had to have the trains repaired or they had to turn them over and lose the contract, and Googled Polish hackers and found this group of Polish hackers that called itself Dragon Sector, and asked them, hey, can you come look at the software for these trains and see if you can help us figure out why we can't make them run, because we cannot find any mechanical problems with them. It must be software. All right, so that's kind of the setup. So this third-party company brought in some hackers to look at these trains. And the hackers basically figured out that this Newegg, the owner of, so now I'm switching over to the Gizmodo article, the owner of the trains was bricking its trains if they were repaired by third parties intentionally. And so the Polish Office of Competition and Consumer Protection is now got involved, and the hackers are like, hey, we'll see you in court, Newegg, because Newegg, of course, threatened to sue. And the Newegg, or the Dragon Sector hackers, they presented a German cybersecurity conference and said, hey, we're 100% sure we're right. We're 100% sure we're acting in the public interest. It's Newegg that should be scared, not us. So here's what they were doing, apparently. So they went and compared the software, reverse engineered the software between a functioning train and a non-functioning train, and they found that Newegg had written code that would cause the train to fail if it was geolocated in a competitor's workshop, train yard. And so there was some back and forth, and they figured it out. And so with like hours left before this SPS company would have to turn over the turn the trains back over in the contract and lose out on the contract, they solved the problem and actually got them working. They wrote around, the hack or the brick software that the Newegg had come. So they figured out a bunch of different things, like if it was in certain geofence coordinates, it would brick. If it was sit still for 10 days, it would brick. And apparently there was one train that would just lock up every year on December 21st. And if any of these triggers were met, the train's memory would flip a certain bit to zero.
We need some maintenance.
Yeah, we need our maintenance contract.
Ongoing revenue.
And so, it would flip a certain bit to zero, and then all of a sudden the train's throttle and locking, would block the train's throttle from working. And Dragon Sector analyzed 30 Newegg trains, and 24 of them had locks with various triggers and locking mechanisms. And the Dragon Sector folks said, hey, we didn't intend to become whistleblowers. We were just trying to help a company. And I wanted to start, he says, I wanted to start moving things forward because what Newegg seems to have done is not cool, to put it lightly. So let's see. Of course, Newegg initially on December 19th of last year published a paper denying Dragon Sector's claims, but has since, of course, removed it from its website and then started to figure out what they could do legally. Hey, they don't have the proper license to work on the train software, and the Dragon Sector hackers we were hired by the folks who do, so I think we're good. Anyways, it was interesting that a company that large is putting anti-competitive things into the software to intentionally break it, and of course, this affects the customers, and I don't know how it's a good look for Newegg either. When all their trains are not working, but whatever. The Newegg claimed that, repairs are just 5% of our business, but to Gizmodo, that they went and looked at, but if you look at their financial statements, the repairs fall under a repairs and modernization header, which represents 20% of the total revenue for 2022 and roughly 60% in 2023. So repairs and modernization is not 5%. The Newegg spokesperson includes it's more than just repairs that includes that larger number. We still say repairs only make up 5% of revenue. 5%,
boy,
instead of 60%.
Untrustworthy.
That seems a little bit odd. But anyways, I think probably I'll put both links in the show notes, but the Gizmodo one is a little bit is from earlier this year. The Wall Street Journal one is more of a doesn't go into the technical details like the Gizmodo one does. But there you go. Let people repair their things. Software can be reversed, and you can be caught doing naughty things. Oops. So there you go. That's my article for today.
Okay, that's That's a great article. That's a great article. And yeah, I don't actually know what the EU, doesn't EU have a right to repair law?
Yeah, they do.
Isn't that
Newag is afoul of that. Yes.
Yeah. So
they're busted, as you say.
Okay. That will be interesting to see what happens. I assume some lawsuits will come. And I assume that Poland is not the only country that probably buys trains from them.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. The article I chose tonight, also semi in two parts, because it's about there was a claim that Ticketmaster was hacked.
Okay.
Or had, quote, unauthorized activity on its database. There's a group of called the Shiny Hunters claiming responsibility and says the stolen data contains names, addresses, phone numbers, partial credit card details from Ticketmaster users worldwide. Live Nation did file with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, because that's required now, that on May 27th, quote, a criminal threat actor offered what it alleged to be company user data for sale via the dark web that it was investigating. No confirmation on the number of customers, although I just said, I think at the top, that they claimed the dump claimed 560 million customers. So the problem here is that it says researchers are also warning this is part of a larger ongoing hack involving a cloud service provider called Snowflake, which is used by many large firms to store data in the cloud. Snowflake notified customers of an increase in cyber threat activity targeting some of its customers' accounts. So the question there is this the tip of the iceberg, or is there more? Was there a breach of Snowflake, and Ticketmaster was just one of the companies? Now, there was another company, Santander, on Friday, who confirmed that it had data from an estimated 30 million customers stolen, being sold by the same group that as Ticketmaster. What was it? The Shiny Hunters. But so there's a final quote from the BBC article. It's thought these hacks are all linked and many others could become public. Okay, but Snowflake had a post in their forums that basically says Snowflake, and I'm going to read a couple things here. Snowflake and third-party cybersecurity experts CrowdStrike and Mandiant are providing a joint statement related to our ongoing investigation involving a targeted threat campaign against some Snowflake customer accounts. We have not identified evidence suggesting this activity was caused by a vulnerability, misconfiguration, or breach of Snowflake's platform. We have not identified evidence suggesting this activity was caused by compromised credentials of current or former Snowflake personnel. This appears to be a targeted campaign directed at users with single-factor authentication. Dun, dun, dun. As part of this campaign, threat actors leveraged credentials previously purchased or obtained through info stealing, and we did find evidence that a threat actor obtained personal credentials to and accessed demo accounts belonging to a former Snowflake employee. It did not contain sensitive data. This access was possible because the demo account was not behind Okta or multi-factor authentication, unlike Snowflake's corporate and production systems. So basically, Snowflake is saying that if its customers are affected, it's because its customers have misconfigured, released passwords and not enforced two-factor authentication, for example. So, per usual, the recommendations are first and foremost, enforce multi-factor authentication on all accounts. If this hasn't happened yet, there's issues. Of course, for a cloud service like this, you should also set up network policy rules. So only allowing traffic and users from trusted locations, VPN, cloud, NATs, etc. And then the third thing they say is impacted organizations should reset and rotate Snowflake credentials. So it sort of remains to be seen if there are other companies that will come out of this investigation. Snowflake's a quite popular and public company these days. Big data,
all the rage.
Big data company. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Not least because it's Ticketmaster, of course, but if it was really 560 million customers, I assume I'm one of them. I haven't gotten an email from Have I Been Pwned yet, though. I guess I didn't check and see if he had loaded that breach in or anything, but
not fun.
All right, there you go. That was my topic. How about something fun?
So I have two, and I have
two fun things.
Something that's not fun, and something that actually is fun. I'll put it that way.
So they balance out to neutral.
Yeah, it makes it's mediocre night for Eric. So the first one, I saw this and I thought, wow, it's, the predictions are coming true. So apparently Panama is now evacuating. They have the Panamanian, Panama's Caribbean coast. I wasn't aware. There are a whole bunch of islands off Panama's coast that are now being, due to rising sea levels, they're being evacuated. And so the first of the islands that, due to rising sea levels and harsher weather conditions, is actually being evacuated to the mainland, and they're building things for the mainland. So not so fun, but apparently there's 63 different communities along this coast that the government expect to force, and they're putting force in quotes, to force relocate due to the rising sea levels in the coming decades. But they're not forcing people right now. So, and a lot of these islands, indigenous residents, row, out, they fish, they live on the sea. There's a number of short stories in here about, what they're doing. It's, there's a whole bunch of these populated islands in the archipelago of Gunayala territory. And they're not very big. They're just, enough for, a few folks. And so that's not so fun.
Wow.
But it's,
that is a packed island.
Yeah, not so fun, but interesting article just to read of, hey, so this is really happening. And I think we talked about Venice in Italy. They put those breakers up because Venice floods a lot more than it used to. Apparently there's small coastal communities in Mexico that are having to move inland due to the storms. New Zealand. Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff going on. That's my not something fun, but it was an interesting article, I thought. The fun one was China has successfully landed on the moon for a second time.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about this.
Yeah, on June 2nd, they landed on the far side of the moon, and there's a video in there. You can actually, they shared video of the successful landing. So, we've seen several different places to land on the moon recently. India, Japan, the U.S. have tried. The U.S. had broke a foot. I think Japan landed sideways. So the article talks a little bit about actually how hard it is to land something on the moon, because there is pretty much no atmosphere, just gravity. So there's nothing there to kind of help slow you down. So, anyways, congratulations, China. Second thing on the moon. The article is slightly hilarious because there is a quote, NASA remains the only country to land people on the moon. So apparently NASA is its own country, according to the article. Anyways, so there's my not fun and then actually fun, and they balance out.
I just watched the actual landing there.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Nothing special, but kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's getting harder and harder to say the moon landing was faked.
Well, maybe this was fake too.
Yeah. It was built with AI.
Of course.
I'm gonna go land. The country of Eric is gonna land on the moon next week.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you? Okay. Well, as foretold at the first part of this, my something fun is going to be a book, or it's a book series, and I finished book 2 this weekend. Although I'm really frustrated because I really want, like, had book 3 been out, I would have opened and started listening to it instantly.
Devoured it.
Yes. So there's only the first 2 books out in this. So beware when you get to the end of the second. Book 3 is currently being written. It has on Amazon, or actually on Reddit, it has a estimated release date of 2025. And to be honest, I doubt it's going to be a trilogy. Like this. There is way. This is kind of like, okay, this is like totally Harry Potter in space with mechs. So, like,
okay.
So he's basically at the end of year 1, at the end of book 2. So it took 2 books to go 1 full year.
Okay.
In school, in school, but they were really, really enjoyable books.
Okay.
Okay. So it's called Warformed. Warformed Stormweaver. And book 1 is called The Iron Prince, and book 2 is Fire and Song, I think. But the premise is, hundreds of years in the future, there are these devices, combat assistance device, I think it stands for, that you can get bonded with that kind of grow with you. Not many people do it, but the most popular entertainment in the human space is this combat simulated combat tournaments, SCT.
Okay.
But there is an actual war against these archons or something like that you don't really learn that much about, other than that they're at a war, and the combat assisted devices is how they can fight against them. But many of the people, so you basically enroll in a military academy, but most of the people enrolling don't actually want to go to war. They want to be in the tournaments and the fame and fortune of the simulated combat tournaments. But they're still being trained to go to war. And of course, the protagonist. I don't want to tell you too much, but had a very hard upbringing. Shouldn't have been able to qualify. Smaller than average, was abandoned at birth because of medical expectations of problems, and so was a ward of the state. Anyway, and of course.
So Harry Potter meets Ready Player One meets Ender's Game.
You are my science fiction friend. Yes.
Because what you described, those were the books that came to mind.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Very enjoyable. I listened to the books more than read them. And the whoever the author or the narrator was very good. So that's my something fun. I really enjoyed them. So yes, when I was sitting on the lawnmower and the tractor for so long this weekend, I was 100% listening to these books.
Got through 2 books.
And well, no,
I'm going to add these to my list because you have whet my appetite. With your description. So I'm adding this to my thing.
Very, very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
Cool.
So
alrighty.
Okay, there you go. Something fun.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Fun for real.
All right. Yeah.
You are welcome, Eric. You have you have a great night. I'll talk to you later.
Right. We'll see you. Bye.
Bye.